Hello everyone, once again. As promised, it's 10:05 on dot, and we'll be kickstarting the webinar. Welcome once again to the webinar themed Harnessing AI for Future-Ready Cybersecurity, the Strategies for Business Leaders. So if you're a business leader anywhere in your organization, this is a webinar for you. I am Kendall Joe. I am a Customer Excellence Strategist here at Reliance Infosystems. I'll be your host for today, guiding you through a session and ensuring that you have a memorable and great experience. So before we get into today's panel discussion, here are a few of our housekeeping rules that I would like you to note. This session is being recorded and you'll be receiving the recording in your emails a few days after the event so that you can recap and go over what we have talked about today. All attendees are muted, and this is to ensure that we maintain a focused and distraction-free environment so that you're not distracted, you're learning, and we don't have interferences here and there. But not to worry, you can ask your questions in the chat room. We have experts that stand by to attend to any questions you have. And even if you encounter any issues during the webinar, please let us know in the chat room, and there is someone who is going to be attending to you. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our speakers for today. We have Victor Bayado. He is the Senior Vice President of the Data Center and Endpoint Transformation Unit here at Reliance Infosystems. Hello, Victor. How are you doing today? Hey, I believe Victor is saying hi. And we have
Yes, hi, everyone. Okay. Nice to be here.
Hi, Victor.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. And we have Christopher Odutola. He is a Solutions Engineer at Sophos. Hello, Christopher. How are you this morning? Hi. So these are both our speakers, and I promise you they both bring a wealth of experience and knowledge to the discussion. So be rest assured that you will be having quite an insightful session. So we have an exciting session planned for you. We'll be starting off with the introduction, where I'll be giving you an overview of Reliance Infosystems. Some of you have met us before, some of you this might be your first time, so it's more like an intro to let us know each other, and you get to know us rather. We explain to you what we do and how we operate. Then we'll be moving on into our panel discussion. Where our speakers who are just introduced, they'll be sharing their insights on today's topic. And after that, we'll be opening a floor for Q&As. Like I said, you can ask whatever questions you have, even if even if we are already talking during the session, and if you know what, there is always someone in the chat room looking out for your questions, and then we'll be giving you the takeaways. Yes, as the participants, you get to take something away from this webinar or panel discussion as you have it. I'll be wrapping up with the closing remarks. So as I just mentioned, by participating, you stand a chance to receiving exciting benefits, right? So you'll be receiving free Sophos licenses, free advisory session. During the course of the discussion, you'll be seeing a link to that being dropped, and free cybersecurity awareness training. Now you'll be getting more details about all of this at the end of the session. So please do not be in a hurry to say, oh, I want to leave, or they are done with the panel discussion, oh, I've gotten what I wanted. No, you need to still wait so that you see if you just might be one of the lucky winners of these our offers. Now we're starting off with the introduction to Reliance Infosystems. We're a leading champion and advocate for digital transformation. We basically and practically preach digital transformation, and we have been able to successfully lead the technological space with unmatched proficiency. We're a leader in our space, and we keep leading and we keep winning. Presently, we have a significant global presence with operations in North America. We have ones in Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and of course, Africa. And this, has been able to demonstrate our diversity to not just serve markets in our local space, but also worldwide and internationally. Our vision at Reliance Infosystems is very simple. What we're doing, we are reinventing the world. And by doing that, we aim to achieve unmatched proficiency and simplify processes for organizations to be able to drive business success. Our key recognitions over the years, which includes our multiple Sophos Partner of the Year win. Like I said, we keep winning, we keep leading, and this has been able to highlight our commitment to innovation and leadership in the cybersecurity industry. What we're talking about today is cybersecurity, so you should see that yes, we are more than capable to handle all of your cybersecurity needs and challenges, if any. Now, what you're seeing over here is the highlight of the partnerships we have with leading tech companies. And this alliance has been able to help us to deliver those innovative technological solutions to our customers and to prospective customers. You can see Sophos, Microsoft, SAP, Commvault, among the host of many others. Now talking about the core pillars that define this our success here at Reliance Ecosystems, we have been able to hinge out on three foundational pillars. One is the business transformation pillar, second is the operational excellence pillar, and the third one is the protection assurance pillar. I'll just be touching briefly on this just so that you understand these pillars to a certain extent. So business transformation is central to our mission here at Reliance. What we are doing is that we are transforming businesses' visions into digital realities. Yeah. We're leveraging digital transformation, ensuring that businesses have the outcomes they desire, ensuring that they scale, ensuring that they are agile. And our approach includes key components such as what you're seeing here, the cloud services, the process automation, the business productivity, and what all of these are aimed at is to push business forward into a future of digital excellence. Next we have is our operational excellence. So think about all of the operational functions in a business, say people, processes, systems, data, all of that. What we are doing is that we are integrating all of this to ensure that you are realizing business automation and you are ensuring consistent and predictable success. So more than just efficiency, we are ensuring, just as it says, operational excellence, ensuring that you excel in your business operations. And this approach magnifies our customer value proposition and business capabilities through the themes of modern ERP solutions. We have the customer engagement, data platform, and a host of many others. And of course, protection assurance, which is equal to security. So we have a comprehensive suite of cybersecurity measures that are designed to help you to secure your digital landscape. And interesting enough, that is why we are here. We're talking about cybersecurity today. And each of all of these operations, you're seeing endpoint protection, advanced threat protection, gateway protection, are focused on your core operations, essentially providing you with peace of mind as a service. And finally, you're seeing here the diverse portfolio of our clients, and these, as noted, are broad reach in order to reach. We are not just we're not just caged to one. We've been able to deliver quality services to different industries. As I mentioned, it's a brief introduction just so that you know that you are in capable hands and we are ready and sure to ensure that your cybersecurity challenges, whatever challenges or needs, are being met. Now is the moment to learn. Like I had mentioned, feel free to drop all of your questions. Don't be deterred with the fact that you can't unmute or you can. No, don't do that. Just feel free to drop any of your questions. Our experts are on standby to answer whatever questions you have. Now we've gotten into the crux of today's matter, AI. AI, artificial intelligence, is not a new word to anybody, I believe, because AI has been a buzz. Now, it has moved more than a buzz, but it has been a buzz for quite some time. And it's transforming every aspect of our digital world. We have generative AI, we have AI in coding, we have AI in healthcare. It has really come to, penetrate most of the industry's digital world that we see out there. And the cybersecurity space is no exception. What we're doing here today, we're exploring how AI is reshaping the cybersecurity landscape. Remember, the title of our webinar is Harnessing AI for Future-Ready Cybersecurity. And in doing that, we're addressing some of the pressing questions. We know that people, it's people sometimes we think AI is robotic, and they have some concerns addressing its use. Is it coming here to like take over? Is it this? We'll be addressing all of those present questions. But first off, before we do that, we'll be starting off with a basic question to set the stage. Hello, Christopher. So could you start by explaining exactly what AI is and why it has become so important in the cybersecurity space today?
All right. So, as the name implies, artificial intelligence has to do with humans creating machines that can behave like human beings, basically can think like human beings and do tasks, complete tasks that human beings will regularly, do. And that means transferring some of our intelligence to this machine so they can deputize for us when, if and when required. So that's basically AI in a nutshell. Now, AI is built by humans, they're machines. In the context of cybersecurity, we'll be talking more about the machine learning aspect of it. Why is that important? If you compare AI to humans, AI has certain advantages like speed, processing, storage, and the rest, and the likes. And in cybersecurity, we deal with a lot of data, a lot of traffic, a lot of logs that are quite tedious for human beings to make sense of. But because AI has the advantage of speed, let me say machine learning, for example, has the advantage of speed and can learn really fast, it's easier for us to allow the machines to take a look at the data or the traffic and filter out the noise, the signal from the noise, and then help us derive useful telemetry that can help us to detect, help us to protect, and help us also to analyze and respond. So by doing this, AI is going to save us countless hours or days or even weeks, as it were, by being able to help us make our work easier. So when the concept of cybersecurity, we ingest so many logs from firewall, from email, from endpoint, from cloud, from the network, and these are quite huge. And because the attackers are also using artificial intelligence, they're also using machine learning, it is very important for us to come up to speed as well and allow the machines to also help us so that we can meet each other halfway. By doing that, the defenders also now have the arsenal that the attackers have, and they can meet on a level playing field. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for laying the ground, setting the stage with what exactly AI is and why it is important in cybersecurity. We have a poll that will be dropping in the chat room just now, and it's asking you how familiar are you with the concept of AI? So we've been able to lay the ground rule what is AI and its importance in the cybersecurity space. Now we'll talk about the concerns that often come up. Remember, I said that people are concerned because they don't know exactly to its extent. They don't know the extent to its use. So, Victor, we know that some people worry and some people they worry that AI is here to take over human roles. Some people worry now that AI can do some certain things. Does it mean that my organization might not need my services? Does it mean that the human oversight is no longer needed? So what exactly are your thoughts on this? Can AI truly replace human roles?
All right, thank you.
Okay. Yes.
That's actually a very interesting question. And I would like to start by saying, yes, AI is very efficient. Just like my colleague mentioned, talking about the speed that we're able to leveraging AI, talking about how mundane activities can actually be done more effectively, leveraging artificial intelligence, leveraging the fact that AI can actually come handy when it comes to analysis of very large data that will have actually taken months for a human being to do. But despite this fact, I can actually tell you that AI is not or cannot actually replace human, particularly in the field of artificial intelligence. I mean, in the field of cybersecurity. The main concern here is the worries around some of the intuitions that AI lacks, creativity, and most especially the ethical judgment that human is able to actually showcase, in making decisions. So, having said that, AI lacks, some other very important components. AI can actually misinterpret data, which can actually lead to a lot of damage. It can actually be overwhelmed. In one way or the other, it's also possible for it to make recommendations that is not accurate. So that is why it is important, or that is why the place of woman cannot actually be replaced. So it is also very much important that we will have woman, in making cybersecurity judgment and in making any solutions that has to do with cybersecurity to safeguard, our assets, so to say. But the reality is that AI is best used when it is actually augmented with human being. So when the cybersecurity professionals today, when they are able to actually see the place of AI, as a deputy, so to say, assistant, so to say, assisting them in performing their role in a much more better way. That is actually the best way we can put to use the value or capacity that AI has to offer in cybersecurity space. Human expertise is still essential in summary, and then most especially for strategic decision making and handling some of these sophisticated attacks that we have around us, while still leveraging AI to to be able to perform those activities in a much faster and a better way. Therefore, in summary, AI cannot essentially or specifically take over the job role of cybersecurity expert, but rather the cybersecurity expert needs to actually know how to make use of AI to become more effective and more efficient in their job role. Thank you.
All right, there you have it. Victor has been able to explain that AI is not here to take anyone's role. So don't be scared. Don't be afraid that, oh, is AI coming to explain human and is AI here to replace humans and all of that. Human expertise is still necessary. Human expertise is still essential. And as he had mentioned, it also serves as a valuable tool in the hands of those who are willing to use it. So AI is an assistant, right? It's here to assist you to make your work easier or less burdensome. So if you know how to use it more, if you know how to use it well, rather, it's going to be like a very, very essential tool for you. So we have been able so far to mention some of the capabilities that AI brings to the table. But now, does it mean that traditional roles like the security operations center SOC becomes obsolete? It's no longer necessary. So Christopher, if an organization adopts AI powered cybersecurity, would they still need to maintain a SOC? And for those who aren't really familiar with the term SOC, what exactly is SOC?
All right. Like you said, it's better to lay out what exactly a SOC is, right? So a SOC is a security operations center. It's a powerhouse that enables you to be able to have full visibility into your entire cybersecurity infrastructure, from the firewall to the endpoints, to the cloud, to email, to the network. All of this telemetry is ingested into the SOC, and then you would have SOC analysts who can then go through the data that has been received, prioritize which ones need to be investigated, prioritize the detections that come in, and then investigate them and, if possible, respond. So basically, a SOC is like a control center. It's a control room that sees all of the cybersecurity and can detect threats. They can see threats coming in, and they can use the telemetry to be able to respond to those threats and stop them before they become a breach. To understand the need for a SOC, I'll talk about the three basic pillars. First is protection, which is what you already know, the antivirus, the firewall, and the rest. They stop the proactively stop attacks from happening, right? And then we have the detection layer, because protection can never be 100%. In fact, in most cases, you would hear that protection can give you 99.9%. But if you look at the context in the cybersecurity world today, the landscape, we're seeing about 1 million new malware samples on a daily basis. If you flog 1 million times, 99.9%, that's you're talking about 100 still coming through, and that's a lot in today's cybersecurity. So that detection layer is there to help us see what protection has missed, which is very critical. So think of this in the concept of a CCTV camera. With physical security, you have your gate, you have your scanner, you have your security guards. But right in the building, you still have CCTV cameras recording all the activities back to the feed, which we will call a control room, which is similar to a SOC, where someone is watching those cameras, someone is trying to steal. Whoever is watching can then alert security to it. So detection is more like that. It goes beyond protection to help us see what protection might have missed. So detection focuses more on behavior rather than just a signature or files or processes that has been seen before. It's looking out for other things that can lead up to an attack. And from experience, what you catch in detection is even more devastating than what protection is able to stop. And that's very key for the SOC. And that is why you see the SOC existing. Now, the next layer is response. Having been able to detect, being able to analyze, to investigate, you now need to respond, to take charge, to remove the attacker from the environment. It could be blocking an IP address or running a particular script to put the attacker away from the organization. So all these three pillars are very, very important. Unfortunately, most organizations focus on protection, forgetting about detection and response, which is why SOC services are being set up. You can already see that to run a SOC, you need to have people there, right? Just like you have people monitoring your CCTV cameras in physical security, people have to be there in the SOC. And unlike physical security, where you can close the building at a particular time, in cybersecurity, we don't close, especially if you have your infrastructure in the cloud or you use software as a service. There's no closing time. So that means the SOC has to run 24/7, 365. So you can't close after 5 o'clock and say it's over, because based on the experience, cybersecurity attacks mostly happen after work hours, during weekends, or public holidays. So that means the SOC has to be there. Now, AI-powered cybersecurity cuts across all the various layers. So today, modern next-generation firewalls use artificial intelligence. They have cloud sandboxing and the rest. Modern endpoint protection solutions use artificial intelligence. Email security depends a lot on artificial intelligence. Detection tools, EDR, XDR tools, they depend a whole lot on artificial intelligence. So you might already be using an AI solution, cybersecurity solution, without even knowing it. Now, having said that, all of these solutions are there to proactively or to prevent attacks from happening. But we already know that prevention can never be 100%. It's not guaranteed. And the ones that evade protection are the ones that cause the biggest damage to an organization. So everyone still needs to have a SOC, a security operations center, properly staffed with human experts, not just artificial intelligence, because a lot of SOCs also leverage artificial intelligence. So you need human experts that can help you to drive the detection and response activities on the 24/7, 365 basis. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. As you have heard, we can't overly emphasize the need for human expertise when leveraging any tool or any technology whatsoever. So we have been able to talk about the concern of AI coming to take over human roles and all of that. Another concern for organizations is compliance. So AI has a lot of benefits it brings to the table, at least so far with what Victor and apologies, I forgot to mention we have a poll for you in the chat room. It's asking how do you envision the role of human expertise in SOC that heavily relies on AI. So please do well to answer that. We'd like to get your opinion on that. So as I was saying, we know that AI offers many benefits. Victor and Christopher has been able so far to mention those benefits, and give a sort of ground foundation onto why it's there. And actually that but there are regulations that organizations still need to consider, because it's a tool. You need to be compliant. You need to stick by the rules. And yes, indeed, that is where partners like Reliance and so forth, which is why we deemed it necessary, and we deemed it should I say, an achievement to have this session with you, because we are your trusted partners, helping you to stay compliant while you're actually leveraging these rules. So this question is going to be for both Christopher and Victor. Could you help us explore this issue further? Organizations really at risk in flaunting these regulations. Let's say they know what they don't know when they are adopting some of these AI strategies, especially in their cybersecurity space. And exactly what should they keep in mind to stay and to remain compliant?
All right. So if you
Okay.
look at the concept of machine learning itself, I mentioned earlier, with machine learning, we have to ingest a lot of data. We have to train the models, the AI models on that data, so that they can help us to, in the future, predict. They can help to identify patterns, which we use in IDS, IPS, and antivirus and other solutions, sandboxing as well. Right. Now, all of these activities could be intrusive, because that means the AI has to be trained on the data. Most AI solutions are run in the cloud, and you understand what that means. If you run something in the cloud provider would have their own. It's a shared responsibility model in the cloud, where the cloud provider provides the security of the cloud infrastructure, while the customer or the organization provides their own security in the cloud. So when it comes to data privacy, for example, they have secured, the provider, for example, Microsoft would have secured their own Azure infrastructure. That's the Azure network itself. And they're selling you a space in the Azure on the Azure network. So you buying that space, you're responsible, mostly if you're using infrastructure as a service, for example, to protect the data that you store on the Azure cloud. It doesn't automatically extend to you in such a way. Now, talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning, they ingest so much data, they ingest so many logs, that they have to pull into a data lake, which is like a huge database that has been sieved, that has been filtered in a way that it's less noisy than the original logs that are collected, and then can feed the model to train based on that information, the traffic, and then become more intelligent eventually. Now, all these activities could lead to, data privacy violations, right? For example, data sovereignty, for example, would say that you need to keep certain files or your files within a certain geographic location, or in a geographic location where the files that you've kept in the cloud cannot be accessed by anyone else, right? So some countries have different policies regarding this. That means you have to choose which data center, for example, you want to use if these services are going to be running for you. Now, there are other regulations like GDPR and NDPA 2023, which is the one that concerns Nigeria. That's the Nigerian Data Protection Act 2023, which came into force last year. There are strict penalties if there's a data breach and the customer or the organization fails to abide by the guidelines of the NDPA. For example, there's a 10 million naira fine. There's also a 4% annual revenue fine as well, whichever is more. Right. So for most organizations, they have to now be very, very careful that whilst using artificial intelligence, they are not going to be in danger of breaching the compliance or the regulations. And that is why for every organization trying to use a cloud-based solution or an artificial intelligence solution, which is mostly based on the cloud, they also need to do some due diligence to check if the provider has certain certifications. For example, ISO 27001, NIS2, SOC 2, these are certifications, business certifications that should be made available to a customer or an organization willing to purchase a service. The good news is most large organizations have the certifications. For example, Sophos has this certification, which you can also verify. We can post a link so that you can also check them out. So if you're using our solution, along with our partner Reliance, you would not be in danger of a breach of compliance with the NDP or GDPR, because we have factored all of this into our solutions to ensure that you stay safe as well. Thank you. Victor?
All right, thank you so much, Christopher. I think you've laid a very good background on that. But just in addition, imagine the compliance that Christopher just mentioned. In addition to that, you can imagine the CISO of an organization also standing a risk of going to jail, for a number of months or years. So imagine just because you are the chief information officer of an organization, and because of some of the diligence, so to say, which may not necessarily come from you, and at the end of the day, you then becoming a victim of such. So that's actually one of the reasons we are having this kind of sections, so that our customers and organizations out there, they're actually aware of risk that is actually associated with some of these negligence that can actually come as a result of lack of putting the right tools or the right solutions in place. Many organizations are not also aware today that encryption is also one of the basic requirements for the organization to ensure you have. This can actually come with a lot of risk if perhaps such organization, then become a victim of some attack or some infections at the end of the day, and the authorities then find out that you don't have all of this in place. So meaning that these are some of the things that is important for us to ensure that we put in place to ensure that we don't actually flaunt regulatory policies, or we are not violating regulations. Many organizations we also need to be aware that the likes of ISO 9001, the likes of ISO 14001, the likes of ISO 31000, on risk management, the need for us to have a proven backup, a solution, or BCDR solution that will have this in place, or even a cybersecurity insurance, policy that will have all of this in place to ensure that we're not actually flaunting and, just should in case. Because let me also mention something. Leveraging AI. That was something I was listening to recently. I'm aware that most of these organizations or OEM with different AI technologies and solutions, they have some keywords or key policy or rules in place to actually ensure that they protect the data privacy of individual, so that I'm not actually allowed to query somebody else's personal information, so to say. But now imagine how the crook can actually leverage AI, by leveraging a bit of programming languages, by defining some terms. What those technology understand is the fact that you don't ask what is personal. But now imagine where the crook then leverage, programming skills to then code or add code some of these content that is meant to be personal data related. At the end of the day, querying that, they are not actually asking those words or those data directly, but indirectly they are asking those data. And what that means is that such organizations or environments stand a chance of data breach. And that is why it is important that we are all aware of all of these possibilities and ensure that we have solutions and technology in place, especially policies, because we also have security beyond technology. So policy and procedures also needs to be in place to ensure that we don't actually be a victim of data violation or privacy violations, as the case may be. AI has come to stay and is actually revolutionizing every aspect of our life today, but we actually need to be intentional in our approach of, leveraging them. And that is why, just like Chris said, Sophos is actually one of the trusted organizations when it comes to cybersecurity that can actually be leveraged and also help us to stay compliant. Thank you.
Those are amazing responses from our speakers, and I hope that they have been able to allay your fears when it comes to flaunting these regulations. So you're not at risk. The only thing you need to do as an organization or as a business leader is to ensure that you're following the rules and regulations that exist to the letter. And as they have both mentioned, doing business with us gives you a very, very high chance of staying compliant when it comes to leveraging these tools. Yes, regulations are important, ethics are important, rules are important, but so are costs. That's really top of mind to organizations that want to leverage some sort of solution, especially the ones that are AI driven. And it could be overwhelming because some organizations might not really understand the nitty-gritty of what it is. What am I supposed to do? What am I not supposed to do? What are the implications and all of that? And especially when it comes to balancing this with cost. So Christopher, how exactly can organizations achieve this balance, ensuring that they are adopting these AI-driven solutions that we are going to be putting to them without overspending, without breaking the bank? And also, in answering that, can you also mention some of these AI-driven solutions that are available to organizations to leverage?
Excellent. That's why we're here. So to start with, I think I would take the last question first so that we can see how they plug into the entire cybersecurity strategy. So every organization has its own cybersecurity strategy, the chief being that you want to be able to identify potential attacks and stop them before they lead to a breach. That's the summary of every organization's goal when it comes to cybersecurity, right? So that's what leads you to look for solutions, as it were, like the endpoint protection, the email security, the cloud security, network security, identity, PAM, and the rest. So all of these solutions now use artificial intelligence. I'll give you an example. In terms of data classification, AI can look at a file that's been created before and automatically classify it and tell you this document, I'm seeing customer data, or I'm seeing personal data in it. This document should be tagged internal or confidential and should not go out. So automatically, if you're trying to send that file to an external recipient, the AI could prompt you to say that this document should not go out, or could encrypt that file so that the recipient is not able to view the content because it's not supposed to be shared. So AI makes that classification very, very easy for us because it's able to, it has learned from millions of such files, so it knows when it sees it. So that really helps your DLP strategy. So you can see, if you now project all of these kind of applications to the endpoint protection, for example, which can identify a malicious file in just 20 milliseconds. 20 milliseconds is way lower than a second, and in cybersecurity, every millisecond counts. So the machine learning models can identify a suspicious file or a malicious file in just about 20 milliseconds. That's why you see a lot of antivirus or endpoint protection solutions are also using artificial intelligence for the file scanning as well. Similarly, for detection, AI is able to do pattern recognition or pattern matching. And this is what you see most IDS solutions using. So for a passive solution that is not inline, passive solutions help us to go back in time and see what our protective layer might have missed, right? So by doing that, by ingesting all of this telemetry from multiple sources, from firewall, from email, from endpoint, the AI can put all these pieces together, looking at the timestamps and see what happened across a period of time, and then say that this kind of activity, because it has seen something like that before, can lead up to an attack, and then flag the SOC team to investigate quickly. Right. So that's the beauty of AI across all these multiple solutions. So the good thing is, if you have some of these solutions, you probably already have artificial intelligence, so you don't have to now go and buy your AI model and start training it locally. Some of the solutions you are using currently have artificial intelligence inbuilt into them, so that's a very good thing for you. Now, for your cybersecurity strategy, to make your work easier, like Victor has also said, AI is the best assistant you can think of. So for the SOC teams, for example, they can use artificial intelligence to help with the case notes. So after having investigated or detected something and investigating it and analyzing and all that, AI can help them to summarize the case notes that will then make sense to a customer who's reading it or to a manager who has to go through what has been done. Right. So some of these manual jobs, some of these I won't call it manual, some of these repetitive tasks or mundane tasks or routine tasks can be fast tracked with artificial intelligence so that it doesn't bore the human. The human can then focus on more creative decision making, such as going after an attacker and neutralizing them. Right. So your cybersecurity strategy within your cybersecurity incident response plan and the likes, you need to find a way to use artificial intelligence in every layer to make your work easier and to make work easier for those who are responding and protecting you. If you use stuff like Copilot, for example, artificial intelligence, it helps to make your work easier. If you attend Zoom meetings, team meetings, for example, you could have an AI that could help you take the meeting notes and take the action points, the key points, and summarize them and send them to you in a very good way. So AI going forward is very, very key to cybersecurity, and you have to find ways to integrate that into your cybersecurity strategy. And you're not going to be spending a lot of money by going to buy the standalone AI models. Most of these solutions out there already have AI inbuilt into them. For example, now, if you want to provide SOC services by yourself, you would have to set up your own SOC. So think about you trying to set up your own data center because you want to have your servers running as opposed to going to buy on Azure, right? So the world has moved away from building everything by yourself. It has moved to more of a service model. So you pay as you go. And that's what we're seeing today. So instead of you building an AI-powered security operations center, you could actually leverage on what we have built along with our partner Reliance to provide that service for you. And that would only be a fraction of the cost. So to set up your own SOC, you need to have people in there, about 8 people, the analyst, the engineers, the manager, the technician, and the SOC has to run 24/7, 365 because cyber attacks don't stop after close of business, right? You need to have the right processes in place to drive the SOC, your incident response plan and risk management and stuff, assessment, tabletop exercises, pen testing and the rest, they have to be done. Vulnerability assessment has to be done. You also need to have the tools. Without the tools, you can't really do anything in the SOC. So the tools include stuff like the EDR, XDR, network detection and response, firewall connectors to connect the various cybersecurity solutions together, even from different OEMs, different vendors, connect them together. You need to have a SIEM solution, for example. So all of these are tools that you need to have in the SOC. If you were to build it by yourself, you will have to provide all of these solutions and people and processes, like I mentioned. But what we're doing is to provide all of this to you as a service. So the people, the processes, the technology, we have them already. In alliance with our partner Reliance Infosystems, who can provide this to you as a service on an annual basis, as it were, so you don't have to build by yourself, because building will cost you maybe about 20 to 30 times more. And even with the building, you still have to be paying those fees annually. You have to be paying salaries. You have to be paying for the licenses for those tools that you are buying as well. So it's not like it's a one-off thing as well. You still have to be paying. So why not do it the smart way and save yourself a lot of cost? Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that response. So to answer this question, yes, indeed, you can leverage AI in your cybersecurity strategy without breaking the bank. And I believe Christopher had mentioned some. I took note of some XDR, NDR, MDR, firewall. I hope you're also noting down somewhere like what has been said so far. Yes, so far we have been talking about AI, what it is, what it can do, addressing the concerns and all of that. But now as we look to the future, we have a poll in the chat room. Do well to answer that. As we look to the future, we know that there are as much as AI is helping organizations to stay cybersecurity safe, the cyber criminals are also working tirelessly to replicate the same with this same AI that we are talking about, and they're using it to launch lots of attacks against organizations. So, Victor, could you please share some insights on how organizations can not only just protect themselves but also build a resilient strategy to counter this AI power threat whenever it comes to play?
Thank you so much for that question. And then, interestingly, if you look at the cybersecurity landscape today, you realize a, a geometric expansions in the advent of a whole lot of new variants of ransomware, different advanced threats, here and there, and different organizations being, a victim of different kind of attack. Interestingly, you will also, if you find out, or if you try to examine, you realize that it is not necessarily that some of these organizations did not have some sort of security mechanism or technology or solutions, that they currently leverage at the point of those attacks. But you realize, number one, that threat has become so cheap today, so to say. In those days, before you are able to develop a threat or even infecting an organization, you have to be a genius. You have to have several years of experience in cybersecurity space, so to say. You have to be an ethical hacker and all of that. But today, all of these processes has been simplified, whereby we then have what we call cybersecurity where we'll have ransomware as a service, for instance, where even with little knowledge of cybersecurity, you can actually go on a URL, and just buy and then launch the attack. Not only that, imagine a situation whereby you don't even have money to buy, but you have people you can actually infect. You can also go into a particular space and then just provide that you have this information, then somebody paid the tool and whatever that is required, and you launch the attack. So now, coming from this very perspective, you realize that every organization needs to actually be intentional, because the crook are not actually smiling. The crook, today they have several organizations, they have several staff, they are increasing their salaries, they have different health benefits and different kind of benefits you can think about. And on a daily basis, what they do is to actually be looking for different means and technologies and avenue to actually disrupt organizations' services. And that is why those organizations need to then take a step further. They need to actually be intentional and ensuring that they actually have AI-powered technology, and solutions around them that is able to detect patterns of malicious behaviors, and be able to automate some of these responses, not only depending on human. Like I said earlier, yes, we need to actually augment human, but we can also leverage or leave it to human only. AI has to actually come to play. And if I will give you an example, if we imagine most of the attack that's been reported, you realize that most of these attacks are usually happening during off-peak period, probably weekends, holidays, or midnight, when they know that the IT team will actually be on break. They will have actually lose their guard. And that is why it is important for organizations that want to stay secure and protected in the era that we have today and the phase we are also going to. There is need to actually ensure you have next generation technologies infused to every layers and every touch point of your infrastructure. In addition, continuous employee training is actually a must. I used to say, if I ask us today, I want to believe, if not 100%, I believe 95% of every one of us here today we all have firewall in our various organizations. But we have actually forgotten that we also have something called humanware. The humanware are actually your weakest link. That weakest link are your users. A lot of us, we just assume that users will do the right thing. We have also forgotten that a lot of these users, they are not actually aware. And we have also forgotten that no matter the level of technology we put in place, these users can actually rubbish every of those technology that we put in place, because when and where they actually open the door to hackers by themselves unknowingly, by their actions, there is nothing that any of those other technology that you have can actually do. So there is need for organizations that want to stay protected to actually have regular employee training. Regular update is also very important. There is need for every organizations to have patch management solution in place. This goes a long way. If I've also seen some of the earlier ransomware, even up to now, most of the ransomware attack that are happening, you realize that most of them are actually leveraging vulnerabilities that is found within private operating system or different applications that organizations are using. So there is need to actually pay critical attention to, patch management. In addition, we also have the threat intelligence sharing. This has to do with integration, and I think Chris made mention of something like that. There is need for you to ensure that you invest in technologies that are integratable. Not necessarily that you have to go and get a new product, a new solution, but the current solution you have, you need to actually carry out an assessment to ensure that is capable to integrate with different other touch points in your infrastructure. Like we know, AI work best with larger data. So where you are able to harness, logs and reports from several touch points across your data infrastructure, you are able to actually have a better chances to secure and protect your infrastructure, both now and in the future. Summarily, organization needs to actually invest in AI-powered solution that is actually integratable. Organization needs to invest in human training, that is a cybersecurity awareness training that's supposed to actually be a regular training that should be injected into your HR policy for every organization. System audit must not actually be out of the way. The likes of VAPT is actually a requirement, and ensuring that you have a technology that is integratable and you have a single dashboard that you are able to bring all of this information on a single dashboard and then take advantage of them. And luckily, the likes of Sophos XDR, Sophos MDR actually provide all of these facilities that I mentioned, when you leverage Reliance Info Systems to overlay the solutions that MDR and XDR is providing. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you, Victor. I think one thing I was able to get there, that in order to defend against this AI-powered threat, you have to also invest in AI-driven and AI-powered technologies. That is one getaway. And I hope we are jotting down. We need questions. We want questions. Whatever it is, I told you we have our speakers are experts at what they do, especially in the cybersecurity space. They are here to answer anything you are asking, whatever it is. So please ask your questions, use the chat window, go ask away. And we have been able to set foundation on AI, its use, and everything that's, encompasses leveraging it in the cybersecurity space. I know also we have been able to touch one or two on why exactly Sophos and Reliance are your best bet when it comes to leveraging these AI solutions. But we also want to expand a bit further. Exactly now, I'll be asking this to Christopher and Victor. Why should organizations choose Sophos and Reliance as their partners towards the journey of a future-ready AI-driven cybersecurity journey? Yes, so to speak. So, what exactly sets them apart?
All right. I think Victor already did justice to the reason we're having this discussion in the first place. Right. We're seeing attackers using artificial intelligence, and we're seeing a lot more sophistication and a lot more frequency in those attacks. We're not seeing the usual ransomware anymore. We're seeing what we call an active adversary. An active adversary is a senior level hacker, someone who's been doing this for several years. And they seem to already have credentials, right? So they're not trying to brute force their way into the systems anymore. A lot of credentials are there on the dark web, username password combinations, and they can use, like Victor mentioned, social engineering. They can use AI-powered social engineering to bypass your MFA or to get your tokens anyways. So we're not talking about someone trying to get you. We're talking about someone that's already within the organization, a compromised insider, so to speak. Then doing stuff that admins will regularly do, like delete files, delete backups, encrypt files, and steal documents. Now, why Sophos? Why are we doing this? We've been around since 1985. We started as an antivirus company. We provide OEM antivirus to a lot of vendors that some of them are competitors as well. And we've been doing this for almost 40 years now. So we are well established in that area. We have our own research team. We have Sophos Labs team. We provide threat intelligence also to third-party organizations. Now, our flagship solution is MDR, that is Managed Detection and Response. We talked about protection, detection, and response. And you would notice that most organizations manage their protection pretty well, but they don't have the skills to provide detection and response services. Some of them don't even have the tools. Some that have the tools like EDR, XDR, they are not utilizing it. They are not optimizing those tools. They just have them. They are not doing detections. They are not investigating. They are not doing threat hunting. They are not doing response. And we can do that with the MDR. MDR is a service. It's a managed detection and response service that provides you the skills to do threat hunting, to do incident response, to do full-scale incident response and root cause analysis for you. And that is what we do. And this service runs 24/7, 365. That means after work hours, which 90% of attacks happen outside of work hours. Only 10% of attacks happen during work hours. So this our managed SOC, which is SOC as a service, is provided 24/7, 365, weekends, public holidays, after work hours as well. We have about 23,000 customers currently using the MDR service, some of them also in Nigeria, and some of them have also been brought on board by Reliance Info Systems. So you can count on us. We are very, very strong in that, and there is no other provider that has that many customers on their SOC as a service platform, as far as we know. Also, we have quite a number of OEM integrations. We integrate with the likes of Cisco, Fortinet, Palo Alto, Checkpoint, if I can name a few. For the cloud providers also, we integrate with most of them. Email security, we integrate with most of them as well. Network detection and response, identity and access management, endpoint protection. So what we're trying to say is you don't have to change whatever you're using. Whatever you're comfortable with, you can keep it. With our MDR solution, we are going to bring all that telemetry into our own SOC so that we can have that visibility. The more visibility we have, the faster we can drill down to the root cause and neutralize an attacker. For example, at Sophos, our incident response time is about 38 minutes rather. So from identification to detection to investigation and to response takes on an average 38 minutes. The global average, according to Gartner, for internal SOC teams is 16 hours, which is a lot. Actually, the attackers, like Victor mentioned, with artificial intelligence right now, from day one, attackers can get to your Active Directory within 16 hours. So every second counts when it comes to cybersecurity, and we can provide the OEM integrations to bring all that telemetry in and help you to detect and respond faster. We talked about the prospects of violation of regulatory compliance. I also mentioned that we have quite a number of certifications that prove that we have been properly audited and that we take this seriously. I posted a link in the chat where you can check our business certifications for the likes of NIS2, SOC 2, ISO 27001, and the rest. And we have a huge pool of competent cybersecurity experts manning our MDR platform, our SOC platform. Over 500 plus of those experts are doing that across the world. They don't close, like I said, they follow the sun. As as you're closing down, winding down, another data center in another country is already taking charge of your data, and also help you with the SOC activities as well. Now, for references we have a lot of references, so you can reach out to Reliance Infosystems. They would give you some of those references within your industry. So if you're in oil and gas, if you're in finances, financial services, Reliance can provide you references that we have provided these solutions for, and we're offering them peace of mind as a service. Finally, Sophos also provides what we call a breach protection warranty. Victor mentioned cyber insurance is very important, but in this part of the world, it's very difficult to get cyber insurance because most insurance companies shy away from providing this to Nigerian organizations. So what we do is we provide a guarantee that if you're using our Sophos MDR completes, and there's a breach, you can't get your files back. There's a ransomware attack, for example, you can't get your files back. Sophos will pay up to $1 million in response costs, capped at $1 million. That's about $1,000 per device that was impacted by that, and that is our guarantee that if there is such an attack, we will be paying up to $1 million in response costs. There's a link to that where customers can claim this if Sophos has failed in doing their duty. Like I said, it's a guarantee, not a it's a warranty rather, not a guarantee, breach protection warranty, right? So it's a warranty, not a guarantee that there will not be an attack. It's a warranty in case of an attack, we will be able to cover the cost of response to that level. And we work with the best partners in the region. Reliance Systems is one of our biggest partners in the whole world, and especially in this region. And I would hand over to Victor now. Victor?
All right. Thank you for that. And then just like I'd mentioned, as what you need to look out for a future-proof cyber resilience organization, you realize that some of those major key things I mentioned are what Chris had mentioned that Sophos provide. And that is why for us in Reliance Ecosystem, we don't just go after any technology or any solution, so to say. We do our research. We have been in the industry for quite a while, about 2 decades now, and we've had so many experiences. We've had ourselves acquainted with several other organizations or several OEM, try to understand what they provide and how to provide it. And then because what we are after is to ensure we're able to provide technologies and solutions to our customers that can actually give them a rest of mind or a peace of mind, as we used to say, a peace of mind. So having said that, this has actually been the reason why we have to go for Sophos, which has technology and tools that we can actually leverage to provide our customers with best service, to provide them best solutions that meet their respective requirements and their industries. In Reliance Ecosystem, as some of you that know us, we don't just crash anywhere we want to crash. We don't just crash it at the surface. We actually go deeper. We go deeper to ensure that we take full advantage of what is available and what is actually available. So that is why when you leverage Reliance Info System in partnership with Sophos, you're able to, have a rest of mind across every of your technology touch point. You're able to have rest of mind that the services and solutions we are providing you is actually top notch, and it is also future proof. Now, most importantly, imagine where Chris actually ended his speech. The fact that you can you have a warranty that tells you that even if anything happens, we are able to give you or be there for you up to that numbers. $1 million, a whooping $1 million is actually a lot. So what that means is that it's also another level of assurance from the OEM. The assurance that they have on the technologies and solutions that they are providing. That's what will have also given them the assurance and confidence to be able to go that much. So having said all of this, Reliance can actually help you to take you from wherever you are in your digital transformation and cybersecurity landscape right now to where you're actually supposed to be. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Victor. Thank you, Christopher. It has been an insightful session so far. I have learned. I hope our audience too have. We have a question in the chat room. So, Christopher, Ruth is asking, can the Sophos XDR perform the function of the CM solution? I see you have responded in the chat, but it would just be nice to give a brief answer to it so that the other larger house can benefit from that question from Ruth.
Okay, so her question was, can the Sophos XDR perform the function of the SIEM solution? We get this question often. So SIEM is SIEM is like a scoreboard, right? So you're playing a football match, Chelsea scores is 1-0, Arsenal equalizes is 1-1. That's what a SIEM mostly does. That's at the basic. So it does, analytics. It does log retention. It's very known for that. It's very good for log retention as well, which are all part of compliance requirements, right? SIEM will also help you to pull telemetry from multiple devices, switches, routers, what have you. It helps with all of that. Also, we're seeing modern SIEM solutions, having artificial intelligence built into them, so that they can also help you with some kind of detection, some analysis, to help the SOC guys, right? But the direction of SIEM is not to help you detect and respond. The direction is to help you have visibility into what is going on. Now, for XDR is extended detection and response. You can see that XDR is specific to detection and response, right? So with XDR can also plug into multiple cybersecurity layers, but not necessarily switches and routers, more of those components that provide cybersecurity services to you. It's what XDR will plug into. And XDR can then use the same AI telemetry, the AI models rather, to process that data and filter out the signal from the noise and help you to prioritize which ones you need to investigate. And then XDR also has tools that allow you to respond. So with those tools, for example, you can take charge of a compromised system. So a system that has been isolated from the internet, for example, you can take charge of that system even remotely, and then carry out certain activities on it. Maybe delete some registry entries, or delete the scheduled task, or run a script, or block some IP address with the Windows firewall, or restart the system, or run an update, or do whatever. Right. So the response tools give you direct access to that system. So if you look at it side by side, the SIEM and the XDR, they complement one another. So one is not necessarily better than the other, but for a very small business that cannot afford a SIEM solution because of the cost, but that business still needs to have endpoint protection. They need to have an antivirus in place. They still need to meet all of these compliance requirements, and they also worried about a breach happening to them, right? So they may want to get the XDR only if, and this is the important distinction to make here, only if they have a SOC. only if they have the right team that uses the XDR to detect, to do threat hunting, to monitor, to analyze, and to respond. If you don't have the team that does that, then it's better for you to look at MDR instead of XDR, right? Because that team has to be working 24/7. So if you're running a 9 to 5 business, that's a 9 to 5 cybersecurity team where the guys only work Monday to Friday and they close after 5 p.m. every day, then XDR is not necessarily going to give you better protection than your endpoint protection. So if you really want the detection and response capabilities, I would strongly suggest reach out to Reliance Infosystems and talk about XDR, because there are some MDR packages that are almost the same when it comes to pricing with XDR. So why go for XDR when you can have the full bouquet that includes managed detection and response, right? So that's what I would say. So you can have a SIEM and you can have an MDR solution work together. SIEM for compliance mostly, but MDR for actual cybersecurity, because compliance doesn't mean you are secure. It only means you've met the minimum requirements. When the attackers come and eventually they succeed, they ask you to pay ransom, or the customers that are out there on the dark web, you are the one that's going to be paying the fines, right? You are the one that's going to be paying the ransom, right? Even though you seem as say that you met all the compliance checks. So you still need someone to provide you proactive cybersecurity, peace of mind as a service, to help you detect and respond. And that is why, not like I have an issue with XDR. If you can use it, fine. If you have a SOC, it's fine. But if you don't have a SOC, let's talk about MDR, the level that can, match what's the budget you have with XDR. All right. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, Christopher. I am Ruth. I hope Christopher has been able to do justice to that questions. If so, please give us a thumbs up. And so far, we have now had, I'm sure we have had a clearer understanding of how AI can enhance our cybersecurity efforts. We have talked about the challenges. We have also talked about these capabilities. And remember, as we said, with the right tools and the right guidance from partners like Sophos and Reliance Infosystems, staying secure in an AI-driven world is just within reach. We're nearing the end of the webinar. Remember, and during the introduction, I had mentioned that as a participant, you get to go home with something. So we are offering free cybersecurity awareness training for organizations. All you have to do is to indicate your interest. There will be a link dropped in the chat room. Please do well to hurry up, because we are just going to be attending to the first 5 organizations. Just the first 5 organizations will be considered is a free cybersecurity awareness training. It comes at no cost to you. But actually, that's not all. We had the mind to give our top 5 most active participants. Unfortunately, we didn't have up to 5, but I think I went through the chat and I saw that Ruth and Decent seem to be the only ones that engage with the chat room. So congratulations, Ruth. Congratulations, Decent. You have just won yourself free Sophos Home Premium licenses. We'll be giving you further details about your win via email. And occasionally you have been seeing a link that has been dropped for a free advisory session. This is for all of our attendees. So there's no cap to this. Everyone gets access to this session. So we have talked about AI. We have talked about AI in cybersecurity. We have talked about how to leverage it, what to do to be future ready, what you should take note of, the regulations, the rules, allaying your fears of AI coming to take over human roles, and all of that. And so far, it has been an insightful session. Just to take a clean sweep to see if we have okay. Okay, Hillary, I think you actually said that you actually interacted with it after I had mentioned the win.
I want to thank everybody for taking out their time to be with us today. And I hope that you have been able to get 1 or 2 things. I know some of us are already in the cybersecurity space, but even if you're not, I believe you've been able to pick up 1 or 2 things from here. So before we go, I would like us to stay updated with our latest news, events, and insights. I'm going to be resharing the link for us to follow across our social media platforms so you can be the first to know anytime we have something new coming up. Yeah, and also before we also finally take our leave, if you can drop one or two things that you learned from this session, it would be very nice of you. So probably the rest of us can pick one or two things and add it to our takeaways. And I would like to thank us again for taking out the time to be here today. Thank you so much, everyone. Do enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope that we can take the nuggets that we learned from here into our practices. Thank you so much, everyone, and bye for now. Till our next meeting.